Hey, everybody. Thank you for waiting in anticipation for, really something we've been waiting for now ever since we heard that Marty Mainstream was going to be making his decision. This is kind of a once in a generation type event, and I'm so glad that everybody's here to join us for it. How's everything going on your end, Marty?
We're doing very well, Mark. I thank you for being a part of this. When I sat down and thought about who would be the perfect candidate to do this interview with me, you were the first person that popped into my mind.
Well, I appreciate it. It's really an honor that this is going out on my YouTube channel and that I can be the one to really hear this first because there's a lag time. So I'll hear it about probably 5 seconds before everybody else does. So it's an
Oh
honor.
man, you got to leak that shit.
Are you ready to go?
Let's do it.
Where's the powder?
Got the powder right here.
Perfect. So those following this situation and those who joined on the event page, they know that you've essentially narrowed it down to Austin and the New York City area. Were any other areas in contention for you?
There was never another area in contention. There was always a possibility that I remained in Richmond and stumbled into some other work here, but that really wasn't the direction I was trying to go. We're trying to make a major change to build our brand and to succeed.
Perfect. So you touch on this a little bit, but what exactly drew you to Austin and New York City in particular?
Well, with Austin, obviously, Ethan presented us with a tremendous opportunity to be able to move there, not have to immediately put money down. The living circumstances were a little undesirable considering I'd have to live on a mattress in a living room until June. And then he presented the possibility of also basically guaranteeing me a job there with his company that has been very profitable for him. But as far as Austin in general, it's a very trendy up and coming city. You look at any best cities to move to 2018 list, and Austin is going to be on that list. And it's actually been compared to Richmond in some circles as a very sort of artsy, music centric town. So I felt like my brand would have translated very well there. And it's also a much bigger market than Richmond. And as far as New York goes, it kind of speaks for itself. You know, some might argue it's the biggest market in the world. And when we're aiming at an opportunity of fame, there's no place else to be than in the New York area. So I don't think I have to give a lengthy explanation of that.
Definitely. Well, yeah, you made a pretty compelling case for both the upstart Austin market and really the traditional big market where all the big stars want to go play in New York City. What has the process been like for you with both of these markets really courting you and putting on a full court press to try to get you to move there?
You know, the process is everything I thought it would be and more. It's been great. I Around last summer, I put myself into a position and into a mindset to be making this move to where I could be recruited by multiple entities and get to hear everybody's pitches and kind of make a decision from there as to what was the best opportunity for me.
So when going through this process, I know it's been pretty quick for you. Who else have you talked to? Who have you leaned on in this process? And does anybody know what your final decision is at this point?
I've leaned on my support system that I lean on for any other issues going on in my life. The people in the chat, particularly Nick, has been very helpful during this process. He's been very proactive with recruiting me, and there are some people do know the decision right now.
Interesting.
I could probably count them on my fingers.
Okay. Interesting. That wasn't the answer I was expecting to that question, but that means all the rest of us are waiting in even more suspense, and they've done a good job at keeping it under wraps. When did you make this final decision?
I really have been vacillating over the past, week or so. There was a time where I was sure I was going one place, and there was a time where I was sure I was going to the other place. But as we've drawn closer to this decision, it started to go back and forth almost on a daily basis. But I think sometime this afternoon at work, when I was kind of gathering my thoughts and reflecting on my tenure there, I came to the conclusion what the right decision would be.
I know this might be hard to answer without giving away where you're going to move, but what was the deciding factor ultimately?
I mean, both opportunities checked all of my desires, basically. A place to live without immediate financial commitment, job opportunities, friends, a support system. So I think it really boiled down to where I think I can succeed the most and ultimately be most happy.
Perfect. Do you have any doubts about this decision before we reveal it to the world?
No, I don't have any doubts at all.
It's good to hear. So I guess it's time to end the speculation. I know our audience is waiting with bated breath. We'll let the speculation end. We'll finally have to cut off the rumor mill here. What is your decision?
This is very tough, very tough. But this spring, I'm going to bring my talents to Jones Beach and move to Long Island.
Wow. We'll let the audience react to that. I think that was the favorite in betting circles. I think, Austin put on a very, a very strong effort to try to get you to come there. Like you said, they checked all the boxes too.
There was a period, really during the entire process, I was going to Austin. But then these last 48 hours, there were several developments that completely turned the tides, turned the whole situation on its head. And ultimately, I love Ethan and I have always aspired to move out west, but I feel I'll have a very good support system in New York. I'm familiarized with it. I've been there enough times. And again, the market opportunity, the chance to get myself out there as a brand and to become famous.
I know you touched on it there in your answer, talking about it being a big market, a place for you to really shine. Was that what ultimately sold you on New York, on Jones Beach?
Yeah, definitely. There are some places, the Inn, come on, everybody. I have documented success there, and I feel they would be adequate substitutes for a night crawling situation that is as favorable to me as since the IB that I'm giving up, which is the hardest thing to walk away from in Richmond, is the following I have at the Tap House, which, is coming to fruition this weekend. They're holding a special event for me I have free drinks all weekend. So hopefully we can translate and transition that success into New York.
How difficult will it be to say goodbye to Richmond?
You know, I never really wanted to leave Richmond, and a part of my heart will always be here. I mean, this place in particular, the Tap House, you know, they saw me grow up from a 24-year-old boy to a 27-year-old man. And, you know, I've come a long way. A lot of people said, you know, you'll never have those IB type of days back again. You should just give it up. But I prove that I still have it, whether it's Marty Mainstream, Billy Bingham, Tristan Phoebus, or whoever may manifest in the future.
Is that still up in the air right now? Who will manifest in the future? Do you kind of have to wait till you get up there?
I mean, we have some ideas, but you know, nothing we can confirm to the public at this time. Marty's had a great run. He really has. I mean, my run at the Tap House really coincides with Marty's emergence. So we're certainly not going to give up on that immediately.
What are your career plans up in New York?
Well, we have the interview with Progressive on Monday, which is a very, from my standpoint, lucrative position. I'd be making 12,000 more than I'm making now. So obviously there's a cost of living difference, but you know, that's on the table, but we're going to continue to apply to places in the event that doesn't work out, although I am undefeated in job interviews. So I'm pretty confident about that.
Great. I guess probably our last question before we go into some closing remarks, but what do you have to say to all the markets that you turned down? So not just Austin, but all the other markets that did not live up to Marty Mainstream coming there.
You know, I love Ethan, and I think Austin has great potential. I certainly wouldn't rule out a move to Austin in the future, but now is not the time for that. For where I am in my life and my mood and my mindset right now, New York is the best place for me to be. I will always love Richmond. It's not a Jamestown situation where I'm going to leave here never wanting to come back, but ultimately I think that I'm just too big of a personality for a city like this.
I think we are going to have a little fan question segment here. The chat seems to be wanting it, but before we get into that, what are your closing remarks?
The chat, I don't have the chat up, so I can't see it.
I can ask them to you as they come up. But what do you have any other closing remarks? Anything else that we didn't touch on that you want to make sure that the audience knows?
No, I think we've covered everything. So let's go ahead into the question and answer segment.
Let's see, we're waiting for any. Okay, this is from Joe Toscano. What are your plans for your first weekend here? Very good question.
Well, let's just say we'll be coming to Long Island with some ammunition. So the first weekend will definitely be lit, especially considering I'm sure my work plans will not be ironed out by then, and I probably won't be working on that Monday or anything. So, you know, I'd like to hit both places. I'd like to hit the Inn. I'd like to hit Come On Everybody, Long Beach, Brooklyn, and I know obviously at some point we have to go to Massapequa too, so you can show me your spot.
So we're just waiting for the audience here, seeing if any other questions trickle in. They do have a bit of a lag, so We'll give them 15 or so seconds here. I think this is pretty exciting. I think I had talked about it with Nadia, and we both thought this would be the way that you were leaning, but you came out saying a lot of positive things about Austin. So I was second guessing myself a little bit there at the beginning.
Yeah, and like I said, Austin was the plan up until about 48 hours ago.
We do have another fan question here, or audience question. How, if or how does Joe's lucrative bonus factor into this decision?
Well, I'm sure we could at least get a few weekends out of that and out of what I currently have. But knowing us, not more than a few.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much it is. I'm sure he posted it, but I don't remember exactly how much it is, but that sounds about right. So Glenn asks, what will be Josh's first drug of choice in New York City?
Well, we're going to be going armed with powder. I mean, that's going to be what it is for the foreseeable future. And Phenibut, my Phenibut experiences are well documented, and the combination of those two together is what really brought us over the top the past 6 to 8 months.
Does Hexen have a chance at getting into this mix?
I researched it, but it's difficult to acquire, even though that it's legal. So maybe at some point down the line we'll look into that. But I think I will have my sources in New York. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's a bigger market for, not just the nightlife, but for many other things too. So we don't have any more audience questions that have come in. So I think we hit everything. Is there anything we missed?
No, it's been a pleasure, Mark. Thank you very much, and thank everybody for watching. I'll be up there probably Wednesday or Thursday of next week, so let's start ironing out these plans for next weekend. And I'm looking at you, Jill, Jason, and Nick.
We just had two more audience questions trickle in here.
Oh,
So
boy.
I believe this is from Devin. When can we expect you to overdose?
Dying's for fools, dying's for amateurs. Charlie Sheen.
Another one from Joe. How does this move impact the odds of Eric Lipinski joining the league?
I don't really want to go down that road right now, but certainly it'll give us opportunities to meet with Eric face to face, potentially, get Nick to meet him, and maybe Nick meets him and they hit it off. So I think it increases his chances.
Perfect. Well, I think that's all we've got now. So thank you to our audience for joining us. This was very exciting from my perspective, and I'm sure from all of yours. Hopefully it was from yours too, Josh.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.